Well, welcome everybody. Hello, hello. I'm Janet Kiefer. I'm a two-star executive director with LifeWave. We're really excited you're here tonight for Power of the Patch. A little bit about me. I hail from the Austin, Texas area. I'm really excited you've joined us because even after all the time I've been working with this company and technology, every time I get to share it with you, I really am excited. I feel blessed that we can share this story. We never know who we're going to help with this information. So settle down, get something to drink. We've got some really fun things going on here tonight to share with you. But a little bit about me. About 5 years ago, a friend called and said, Janet, have you been patched? And I was like, I had no idea what she was talking about at all. Well, what helped was in the past, years ago, I had owned a health food store and a fitness club. And so I was always open to new ideas. I had worked with supplements, I'd worked with exercise physiology. So I was always open to, like, well, what's new, right? Because what she didn't know, I had had 3 years of just screaming knee pain. The doctors wanted to do all kinds of weird surgery, and I was trying to figure out a way around it. Well, fortunately, I listened to her, and what we're here to share with you tonight hopefully is going to help someone in your life that you may want to share it with. Also, as we're going through and sharing this phenomenal patch technology from LifeWave, which is a 21-year-old company, it has the only patented phototherapy product on the planet, you guys, that's rejuvenating our entire body. But also tonight, we're really blessed to have Anne Moreau, who's a noted registered nurse, nutritionist, and counselor, who's going to be joining me, and you're going to get the expertise of her decades of helping people. So settle in, let's have a little fun. I'm going to take a moment, I'm going to share my screen and be able to share with you what helped me 5 years ago to completely turn around my health completely. And along the way, meet some amazing people and have a life I never knew what was possible that way. So, welcome to the Power of the Patch. Welcome to a patented breakthrough in wearable light technology. And if you're like me, when I first heard about this, I'm like, what's wearable light technology? Well, first, let's start. I think you'll agree that health really is our greatest wealth, right? But remember when we could get up and party all day, party all night? Friends would come over at 11 night, go, hey, Janet, you want to go dancing? We'd be like, yeah. Now we're like, oh my God, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go to bed, right? Back then, we could get up, go do it the next day. We just had the energy to spare. Well, as we're getting older, I think we can all agree kind of the symptoms of aging and illness just aren't fun. And we're like, well, I used to feel so good. I used to be able to power through the day and keep going all night. So we would like to share with you tonight what starts to happen. Here's the story your doctor might not be telling you because mine didn't tell me. The older we get, the faster we age, and we're slower to heal because there's this natural decline in our body's number one repair system, stem cells. Well, if you're like me, I had heard about stem cells. I knew they were the master cells. But what I didn't know was this story is that by age 30, they're starting to decrease. Age 30, I was racing around, had a kid, had family, we were doing careers. I didn't know I was slowing down. But by age 40, 50, 60, your stem cells are declining. You start noticing you're not sleeping as well. Your energy is going down. I kind of think of it as like a power grid that's going out. The lights are going out all over the city. And little by little, you're just not as active. You're just not as energized. You're kind of just, well, maybe I'll, lay on the beach rather than go play in the water that way. So, what if we could change this? So, I have a couple questions. If you could change one thing about your health or in the health of someone you love, what would it be? It's a good question. What would it be? Well, what impact would reducing or eliminating that issue have for you or on the quality of their life? Well, for many people, they could give you a whole laundry list of what they'd like to change and how it would impact their life. For me, 3 years of screaming knee pain had become very difficult, especially in my career, because I was flying a lot. And those planes were just really difficult with the pain that was going on. So, if I could show you a safe and affordable way to change that trajectory, right? Turn it around so you look and feel and actually are younger, would you be interested? And most of us would say, yeah, tell me what this is about, right? So the good news is we're going to talk about X39. It's a wearable light technology. It's a historic breakthrough in holistic wellness. And I think you'll agree, most of us will use medications as needed. We don't mind going to the doctor, but the doctor's working on, like with me, my knee. What's going wrong with Janet's knee, right? They're looking at what's today. How can I fix that? We're talking about how can we restore health across the body. So we have a new patented, inexpensive wearable patch. It's affordable, it's safe, it's non-invasive, it's drug-free. I loved that. If you're like me, I've swallowed a lot of supplements in my life. It uses very specific frequencies of light to increase and improve our health and wellness. We're going to talk about the light. But here's a little note. LifeWave products are not intended to heal or treat or cure, diagnose a disease. I'm not here to tell you we're going to clear up X. What often happens, though, is X starts clearing up because the stem cells are activating and the body's coming back into balance. So it's very exciting. I'd like to introduce X39 tonight with a short video, a lot more fun than watching me. So let's jump in here.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, and live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that can support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
I just think that's so exciting. We're on such a breakthrough time in our country, in our world, that these technologies that we couldn't even conceive of a decade ago are coming out now. So let me dive down a little bit deeper into the power of the patch. Based on the science of photo, light, bio, the body, modulation, right? And the X39 contains very specific combinations of organic nanocrystals. You guys, if you've ever looked at the new technologies the medical world is using, a lot of it is light, lasers. They're doing cataract surgery. It's all with crystal lasers, right? Well, when we take the patch and we apply it to or near the body, it literally reflects that light back in. I try to think of it as kind of talking to the body. But as our body's emitting specific wavelengths of light, the patch is returning to the body starts having biochemical responses. The issue is you can't feel it because it's working at such a deep DNA level. So all day as you're wearing this, it's talking to the body, it's starting to reverse different problems that are going on. So let me introduce David Schmidt. He's our amazing CEO. He's our inventor. He's the founder of LifeWave. The company's 21 years old. David's actually been working with light technologies since 2000 when he was working with the U.S. Navy SEALs. And with the SEALs, They were having issues about staying awake out of maneuvers. He started with a patch called Energy Enhancer that the Navy loved. You can see behind him just a little bit of his 250 patents. And I'll tell you right now, you're going to know more about David come this summer because there's a documentary coming out on the major media. You're going to hear about LifeWave from everyone by the end of the year. So as we jump in here, let David explain his story.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There is more information there than most people would ever realize. I was 8 years old, and my parents wanted to take me to the workshop of Thomas Edison. On the drive back home, I said to my dad, I want to be an inventor. Light, as it turns out, is the primary control mechanism for everything else that happens in the body. What if we could have an external electromagnetic field that would essentially reset the stem cells that are already in our bodies and get them to function like younger, healthier cells? What if in the process we actually found out that in a book that was written thousands of years ago, that information already existed? God has left his fingerprint in natural design, and that blueprint shows up in nature. The mathematical codes are identical. The implications to this are absolutely extraordinary. What drives me is that there's this enormous sense of hope that we can create technology to generate clean energy, that we can have foods that aren't genetically modified, and we can meet all of the needs on the planet that we have to, and that we can heal people.
I've met David numerous times, a man absolutely from the heart. You're going to know a lot about David going forward here because the word is getting out about LifeWave. So LifeWave's a 21-year-old company. David Schmidt created it in 2000 when he was working with the Navy SEALs. And in 2004, he launched the company to start bringing the patches to the world. Our manufacturing, international distribution, our global services are out of Ireland. However, the home is in Utah, here in the States. But we're distributing to 80 countries. So right now, as I'm talking to you at night, people in Australia are wearing the patches. People in South Africa, people all over the world are using these patches. We have 16 global distribution centers, a new headquarters in Draper, Utah, with an amazing space age welcome center that if you can get to Utah, we want you to visit, please. So a little bit more about X39. We call it the holy grail of health and healing and regeneration. It's an affordable breakthrough in wellness technology. It actually is doing what the multi-million dollar, billion dollar big pharma companies have been trying to do for 30 years. They've been trying to figure out how to reactivate stem cells. This X39 has been proven to activate a very specific copper peptide in our blood. It's enhancing the stem cell activity just as you wear it. You don't have to feel it. It's working with you as you wear it 12 hours each day. LifeWave has more than 200 patents, plus way more than 100 clinical studies. We're way past that. And as David Schmidt says, clinical studies are expensive. Actually, most companies don't do them. We won't let anything go out the door without multiple clinical studies. So you're wearing the patch. What's going to happen, Janet? Well, first of all, you start getting more energy. Using it daily starts to increase cellular energy. Often in the first day of use, people are sleeping better, they're less fatigued. If you're someone, maybe over 40, after menopause women, it's where your circadian rhythm in the brain is upset. This is starting to rebalance the brain. The quality of sleep's getting better. Also, you start having more energy. If you're into exercise and fitness, often you're having increased performance. You're recovering faster after you work out. A lot of people say, I'm not even sore anymore after I work out. And users over the age of 50 start really seeing, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting fit faster because, think about it, X39 is helping the whole body rebuild bone and muscle and tissue the whole time. LifeWave patches have been used by pro, Olympic, amateur athletes now for over 20 years. Well, how can they do it? Isn't it a drug? No. It's not a drug, nothing's going in the body. It's activating the body to help increase the performance, the energy, the sleep, all of this without drugs. Okay? But I think a lot of times it's pain relief that gets everybody's attention. I know for me it was that you start to notice often within minutes of applying the patch, and I can put it in the back of my neck, I can put it on my shoulder, I can put it on my knee. The pain relieving benefits of X39 often kind of catch people off guard. Like, I truly have a hockey therapist that works with pro hockey. He'd been in 6 years of massive pain. In 3 days, this patch took him out of pain. And he called me up and said, "Is this voodoo? I can't believe this. I know everything about relieving pain and couldn't get out of pain." What about the brain? I want you to think about people that may be worried about cognitive decline. What about athletes with concussions? Well, we can put the patch anywhere on your body, put it on your big toe, it's going to affect the brain. It's systemic. The screenings here, the EEGs, are of a 77-year-old woman. You can see the red inflammatory markers in her brain scan. They applied X39, they scanned again in 3 weeks and again in 6 weeks. Look at how the brain's changing. The inflammation is coming down. The body's uptaking actually copper peptide in the body, in the bloodstream, which is helping the brain. And often we have people saying, "I had brain fog. It just seems like it's gone away. I have more energy. I have more clarity," things like that. What about wound healing? Many people, these are true stories, I've got some of my own, have had major injuries and surgeries where the doctor has said, "I don't know what's going on, but you're healing like twice as fast as people." I just had a woman in Dallas with a facelift. She hardly bruised. She was healing so quickly, her doctor goes, "What is going on?" So she explained X39 to him, right? It's good. You're going to heal much more quickly. I think a lot of us really enjoy, however, the body's getting flooded with collagen, the skin is tightening, muscles building again, all the age in your face starts going away because you're rebuilding rather than losing it. So take pictures. We really appreciate that because over 8 to 12 weeks, you're going to see a difference. Here's some of the pictures. This lovely woman, not having a lovely day when she started, a lot of allergies. Look at her after 4 months. She's a much happier person. Mandy, gosh, we just love how many pictures Mandy took over 2 years. Look at the age reversal going on. Look at her eyes, especially because the patch is also helping to detox the body. This young guy had a bad day snowboarding, ran into rocks with his face. Look at him after just 5 days, how quickly things are healing. Our friend BJ, another bad day doing construction, fell through rafters. He broke 6 ribs. Ouch. Well, here's the patch right on his back by the ribs. It's really cool in 13 days. The bruising's gone away, but that's not the big story. The big story is back to work in 3 weeks when it usually takes 6 to 8 weeks to heal that. Friend Kamei, look at the change of her over 9 months. This is someone who they wanted to literally fuse all the bones in her back. She was on 16 medications. She actually didn't want to look at X39 because she thought, "I have the best doctors in the world. How can a patch be better than what they're doing with me?" Well, over these months, she was able to get off the medications. She has a whole new life. Then there's Karen. Now, Karen did have cancer. She had treatment, radiation in her sinuses. We want you to work with your doctor. We want you to follow the instructions. But right after she was done with the radiation, Karen started putting the patch on, and look at her in just 3 weeks, how quickly she's recovering. So we get very excited sharing these results with you. Here's a little more detail to Karen over those weeks. And in fact, just last month, I had the wonderful coincidence of meeting Karen in Orlando, and she just looks stunning. Look at how fast the recovery is. So, again, we love to share it. We're not going to make claims that this is going to heal you of diseases. It's just often the body now has the firepower to go after things. So, it's pretty darn exciting. Hey, who's got thinning hair? I know a lot of people do. My stylist said it at probably about 9 weeks. She goes, "Janet, you're growing new baby hair. I can't see the top of my head." She goes, "Yeah, you're getting all this new hair from this, right?" So here's what some people are saying after being on X39. There's one guy in here I think you're going to love.
X39 has really changed my life. I'm not stuck at home in pain and in bed. I'm out here with my friends and enjoying my family.
Big thank you to Lifeway for helping me, helping my family, and helping the 100 people now in our team who are using Lifeway daily and their families. Big thank you. Love the products.
And I have energy through the roof.
I sleep better. I have so much more energy.
Throughout the day, I can focus better. I can concentrate in my work.
Our church worship service lasts 45 minutes. For the last 2 years, I've not been able to stand that long. 2.5 weeks into wearing the X39 patch, the pastor said, "You can now be seated." It dawned on me at that moment that, my goodness, I've been standing this whole time, didn't realize it.
After starting using the technology for approximately 2 weeks, my pain completely disappeared.
32 years of pain gone in 3 days.
I just love the products. They just help me to feel younger and younger year after year.
Thank God for X39.
My skin become younger, softer, firmer.
It's been really amazing.
I love X39 because it really helped reduce the inflammation in my knee. I can now run again. Woohoo!
So you may wonder, well, why did the doctors not talk about this? Well, actually they are. We have about 3,000 doctors using LifeWave. And tonight you're going to hear from Anne Moreau, one of our registered nurses and practitioners. But if you'll come on Power of the Patch over the next week, you'll hear from Dr. Barbara Jennings and Dr. Jeffrey Hubbard and Dr. Nicholas and Dr. Tom and Dr. Walt and Dr. Shauna. And you really can start to understand it from more of a clinical level. So I'm going to pause right here, and I would just love to ask our guest tonight, Miss Anne Moreau, to come on. Hello, very much, Anne. So glad you're here with us. And if you give me a moment, I am trying to get something up in front of my screen. So everybody, I love having Anne here with me. Anne is so qualified for this. She's a registered nurse. She's a registered nutritionist. She's also a substance abuse counselor. She's helped thousands of people over the last 3 decades recover from illness and kick tough habits and create really cellular health. She's just a wealth of knowledge. She's also a senior leader in LifeWave, and we're going to talk about why she wanted to come over and add this to her practice. She has a very dynamic and growing team, and someone, honestly, Anne, I learn from you every time we're here. I'm just lucky to get her a busy schedule, have her come over and work with us. So welcome aboard, Anne. We're really happy you've joined us tonight.
Oh, thank you, Jenna. How wonderful. What a nice introduction. What a powerful presentation. That was so well done. And I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, wow, we are in a very unique time in history, right? Because what we're sharing today, it's a brilliant technology, built-in intelligence, in our own body. Our body's ability to do stuff is amazing. I was thinking today as well about, because we talk a lot about bringing balance to the body when we talk about LifeWave, because that's what the patches do, is the body gets out of sync. It gets out of balance. And when it does, we end up with some medical condition. We end up with a diagnosis. We end up with some chronic condition. And so what the patches do is really try to bring the balance back. We in medicine, we call it homeostasis. Dr. Tom likes to call it centering, get the body back in center, right? So that the body can do what it's supposed to do. So it's an amazing technology.
Well, thank you. And so as we jump in tonight, you have such a depth of breadth being both a registered nurse, a registered nutritionist, also substance abuse counselor. Could you kind of just talk about, let's go over to what's a strong health foundation? What would you tell people from your perspective across the physical issues, the substance abuse, the emotional issues? What could they do, first of all, for a strong health foundation?
Well, I think when you think of raw materials, that's where you always want to start, because the body needs raw materials. And that means eating, your vegetables, your fruit, eating really, from animals that are humanely raised, doing the right things by your body, hydrating, very important. You're going to get your minerals from a lot of times you're going to get them right from your food, but in some cases, some people need a little bit more help. And there is, a cellulose that called Cellulize, a mineral supplement, electrolyte mineral supplement that can also be added that can really help support what the patches do. So it's a pretty amazing way to get the body back in balance. Of course, you want to exercise. You want to get the right amount of sleep. You want to make sure you're managing your stress level. All of those things are very, very important because, and we always say, I used to hear Robin used to say this all the time. She used to come on this call and she used to say, you have to do your part, right?
True. You can't abuse the body and expect not to have any repercussions. That's true. So, Anna, in all your training and experience, what made you want to start bringing LifeWave into your practice and sharing it with people? And what did you see it could really address?
I think for me, it was the innovation. It was, there's a lot of products out there, a lot of Me Too products out there, but this was far different than anything that I had seen. And then it was the science, because of course I have to dig into the science. And when I read all the science and all the work that had been done, and I thought to myself, wow, I had worked with an acupuncturist for 3 years. So I had an idea of how energy works in the body. And so digging into these patches and really looking at the technology and the work that was done and how we were using our own body, that our own body is the energy source that will activate a signal and bring light back into the body to do the work was, to me, wow, that is amazing. That's appealing, right? And I think even more than that, when you're working, with medicine and supplements, when you're doing all those things, you're always kind of concerned about, side effects or what might happen. So with this, there was none of that. I remember my mom was in her 90s. I didn't have to worry about her being on some medications because guess what? Nothing is entering the body. So there would be nothing there that would impact her with the medication. And the only thing that I tell people is it's only going to make things better. If you're doing, for example, chiropractic care, your chiropractic care is going to be better. It will enhance what you're doing. It will enhance if you're taking supplements. One of my friends tried to get her vitamin D levels up and couldn't, started using the patch, and all of a sudden the vitamin D levels were coming up because things are repairing and one of the first things that the patch will repair is the GI tract. The GI tract is going to get better in 30 days. So if you repair the GI tract pretty quickly, you're going to start to absorb things better and get better results.
And that is so important what you just said. I want to stop there for a minute because often people can't feel the patch and they think it's not working, right? Well, as Anne was saying, just the gut, just healing the gut right there. And she's worked so much with nutrition with it in that way. But she also just said, vitamin D levels are coming up. It enhances the things you're doing. We had a woman talking about she could never get her iron levels up. She was taking iron for like 15 years. All of a sudden they test her. Now her iron levels are good. For me, I couldn't get the inflammatory markers down. I was struggling for years. 6 months in, we test, all of a sudden they're coming down. So maybe you could talk about some of the things that aren't happening anymore, not just the things that are. Because sometimes people think, well, nothing's happening. I go, that's right. Let's look at the things that aren't happening.
Do you know how many times, we're very aware of when we're feeling things, something hurts, or we don't feel good, or whatever, but we are not so much aware of how good we feel. And we forget where we were. And when we use these patches, we need to be reminded that, oh, don't you remember? Was this hurting? Was the shoulder hurting? Is that gone? Yes. Is the knee hurting? No, not anymore. Is your back hurting? No. I go out and shovel for hours and I don't.
And by the way, she means shovel because she's in Maine.
I'm
Snow.
in snow. That's right.
Yeah.
Had a lot of that lately. So, you expect to hurt when you're doing something like that, especially at my age, you expect to hurt. But when you don't, you kind of go, wow, how's that possible? Right? How's that happening? So it really is kind of fun to be able to do things, that I've always enjoyed doing and getting older and still being able to do it, right? To
Yeah.
really, it's so funny because I like, reminding people that, we're getting older, but we can stay young, healthy, and active and add more life to our years. Isn't
Yeah.
that wonderful that we could do that?
It's really about longevity anymore. It's about health span. It's not really about aging, right? So, Anne, for the people who might be joining us tonight as guests, can you kind of explain how you wear the patch? What do you just day to day, what goes on?
So you apply the patch 12 hours on, and a lot of people, it's a new habit. So a lot of
Mhm.
people try to do either they put something on their phone to remind them to put it on in the morning and remove it at night, or they'll put it by their toothbrush because everybody brushes their teeth in the morning. So, they put them by their toothbrush so that they see the patches and apply them. And then when they go to bed at night, they remove them. So 12 hours on, and you want to remove them in the evening, 12 hours off, because the body will forget to remember the signal if you're wearing it all the time. I love the docs. They're always talking about this. They say, as a mom, my kids, they hear me and I say this and that to them. And after a while, they tune me out. My brain, the brain tunes the parent out. And that's kind of what happens with the patches, right? The brain will tune out that signal if you wear it all the time. So wearing it on and off and reapplying a new patch the
Yeah.
next day is very, very important. We already talked about hydration, the importance of drinking water, getting your minerals in as well. Consistency is so important. A lot of people think, they can put a patch here and there 2, 3 times a week. It works far better if you're consistent and you wear it every single day. And I've been doing that for 5 years, wear my patches every day. And, I went for some blood work recently, and my blood work, it was shocking. It's so funny because you're getting a little bit older and you don't think about, what's happening, especially when you feel great. I mean, you get great energy. You got, you're doing stuff that most people are exhausted, when they're 73 at my age. But my blood test came back, my biological blood test came back at 55.4, 17 years younger than what I currently am. Now, you think about that for a minute. I mean, I really want you to think about that because not only does because biologically, I'm also going to heal like a younger person, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been activating new stem cells for the past over 5 years now.
Yeah.
And that cumulative benefit, it's amazing. People who are using the patches get injured, and even though they're a little bit older, or even the young people who get into major car accidents or have major injuries, their doctors are flabbergasted at the amount of repair that they have. One of our friends whose child got into a severe car accident, young man, severe car accident. He had that car accident and was in ICU for quite a long time. He got out of ICU. He recovered gradually. A year later, now this gentleman had fractures all over. A year later, he goes back to see his doctor, and they're asking him if he's had any kind of skin grafting because he had torn skin everywhere. He said, no, I've never had skin grafting. Why? Because he was repairing so well. His bone specialist, especially the guy who did the back work, he said, I would never have known you had an accident because when he looks at his MRI, it's perfect, like nothing has ever happened. That
Oh,
doesn't happen, Janet. It doesn't happen, but it does with this technology.
and that's such a great story. And also, especially, so many people have accidents younger. They fell off horses, so they had a motorcycle accident, and the back doesn't get fixed, and they go forward 4 decades, and they have horrible back problems. And it started back there. And here, this young man was able to really repair the spine, which is Grand Central Station. That's a wonderful example. So, folks out there, even if you don't believe it, trust Anne. She's got the credentials. But tell people about this. I heard about this patch. Maybe we should try it because, especially if they've been in accidents, nerves are torn, tendons are torn, tissues torn. There's a lot of healing that has to come back together, and these patches can just accelerate things so much that way. So, Anne, I can't thank you enough. Folks, I always want to keep her on here like for an hour and a half. But do come back to Power. She comes on graciously about once a month to Power of the Patch. So thank you, Anne, and stay warm. It's going to quit snowing soon. So thank you so much.
So much, Janet.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
it.
Okay, so folks, we're going to just wrap this up a little bit more. Something that Anne and I saw when someone shared the patches with us that we'd like to share with you tonight. Because if you're like me, I was like, oh, my cousin needs this. My girlfriend just went through blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking, like, I need to share this with some people, right? So let me just tell you a whole other side of LifeWave that most of us weren't expecting, but we couldn't stop talking about them, right? Well, here's the growth curve of the company. David starts the company way back in '04. It was a small company for a long time. Well, about 2019, X39 came on the market, and people were like, where did you get that? I want what she's having. Well, this is the growth curve of the company. We're now the number one growth company in network marketing across the whole US because look at this number down here. The longevity wellness market is worth $8 trillion. People are living longer. People want to feel good as they live longer, right? So we have this opportunity to go out and share this with people. And Anne and I saw that we would like to do this, help people. So we started getting the word out on this patented exclusive product. It's simple. We have a simple way of sharing it. You're on tonight. Let us do the work. Bring your people here. Let us share it with them, right? But we have websites, we have training, we have support. You're not on your own. But what I love, if you would like to look at perhaps increasing your income, supplementing some income, maybe have a little more to pay down debt, pay down credit cards, just have more time to go on vacation, especially even just as you're getting older, sometimes you want to have more purpose in your life. It's so rewarding to have an answer for people. We have a great plan B in today's economy. I know you're hearing the headlines. AI is laying people off. The government laid people off last year. People are getting nervous about how are they going to make money if they're laid off at 50 and we're going to live till 90. We got to have a plan B, you guys. Well, LifeWave is this incredibly low cost of entry. You get some patches, you start sharing it, but we're rewarding for making a difference in people's life, which is something I love. So, in addition to being truly a rock solid, debt free 21-year-old company, where Wall Street's nowhere near us, we have an owner, it's a private company. We're in 80 countries. Who do you know in England? Who do you know in Italy? Who do you know in Canada? Who do you know in Mexico? Who do you know in South Africa? Who do you know in Taiwan? Who do you know in Australia? All these people are looking for the same thing you are, to feel better, to have more energy, to sleep better, right? We have a very generous compensation plan. We'll share that with you. But here's what you're helping people get out of pain, reduce their inflammation. Anne talked about all the support on the healing wounds, especially this young guy with his car accident. Your energy's coming up, the mental clarity, the sports performance. Who doesn't want this, right? So one way you can start as a retail customer, the X39 come in a pack. There's 30 in them, a 1 month usage. Put, as Ann said, put them on in the morning, take it off at night, new one the next day. Where they go out for $149.95 for a 1 month supply. However, ladies, we know we don't let our friends pay retail. We have a preferred customer program. It's a subscribe and save program where you're able to get the patches at wholesale because we know you need to wear them for a while. And when Ann and I both started, we weren't thinking we were going to be on these 5 years. We thought, oh, maybe I'll try them for a month. Maybe I'll try them for 3 months. Well, things just kept getting better. She brought up the gut. I really felt my gut change at about month 3. I was like, whoa, it can do that? So you're on a monthly subscription. It's really flexible. You can change it. We're not tying your firstborn down. There's no long-term commitment, but you really have a chance to try out X39. We have a free 90-day money-back guarantee. I've had one person in 5 years want his money back. He used them for a week and decided they weren't working. But one of the ways you might consider is really being a brand partner with us because people need what we have. There's 150 million people over 50 in the US, and half of them are on pain drugs. How we can help them, right? And we get paid for sharing. We're going to help you turn your conversations into commissions, earning part-time or full-time. Generous rewards for building a team. What I love, if you talk to people on the street, what if we could help you get paid weekly? How many people are stretched between paycheck to paycheck? So we have 4 different ways you can start on this, whichever works for you. Our core is basically 3 packs of X39 that we have for $295. The advanced pack actually has 6 of the X39 because you might think, oh, I want my husband on that, or I want to share these with my mother, right? The Advanced Plus, you have 11 packs, and the premium is 20. And you think, well, why would I need 20? Well, many of us start to understand that it's an $8 trillion longevity market. People are getting older. Everybody's stem cells are declining. Everybody. Everybody on this planet over 40 has stem cells declining, right? It's a huge opportunity in something that just changes lives, right? So get back with the person who brought you here tonight. We love that you paid attention. We love that you care. Just know if you need to think about it, that's great. Get back with the person who invited you. We'll answer your questions. We'll take you to the science. I read the patents. I wanted to know the science. What got me though was the first night I got the patches, I got a migraine headache that stops me cold. It's usually 8 hours. I have to take like 6 ibuprofen. I can't talk because it affects my ability to talk. And the pain's horrific. And you have all these crazy lines in your eyes. So I took that X39. I didn't know what it would do. I just slapped it on my forehead and said, oh, well, let's see. In less than 5 minutes, all that eye stuff, that's patterns you get, cleared. The pain came down. All of a sudden, I could talk again. And I was like, okay, what are you? If that sets you on fire, come join us. So I'm going to finish tonight with this little video. We thank you for your time. I hope this got you excited because the future is very bright, you guys.
A life empowered is closer than you think. We're all looking for a better way. Reimagine what's next with a new sense of exuberance. Why not power on like you mean it? Or power off blissfully? A better sleep is a better awake. You've never moved like this before. With the energy nature intended. Imagine reprogramming the way you look at the speed of science. At longevity. At exhilaration. It's next level rejuvenation. Take control of your well-being. From the inside out and outside in. The light within is ready to ignite. Be the light. LifeWave.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time tonight. I appreciate Anne for joining us so much. The Power of the Patch is on every Tuesday night. We'd love you to share it with your friends. What happened here? Let me get myself back on camera there. And thank you for your time. If you're like me, I was laying in bed that night going, wow, what is this? And now 5 years later, it has just changed my life, my health. And what's really wonderful, LifeWave also rewards us with wonderful 5-star resort incentive trips. So many of us will be leaving for Hawaii in May, where we're all going to gather around. We will have our patches on and have a great time. So thank you so much, very much, from Janet Kiefer, from LifeWave, from the Live Younger team, and thank you again, Anne Moreau. Take care.